Hey, I'm Kenneth Wajda. I'm a professional photographer here in Colorado. Welcome to another one of my photo chats. So a few weeks ago, a friend of mine contacted me and said, hey, do you want to do the Kelby photo walk? Somebody's hosting it up in Loveland, which is a little town north of me. And I'm like, sure. So I met him, we went up together, and we did the photo walk. And again, same story as I've said before. What do I bring? Do I bring a digital camera? Because when I do street photography, I know a digital camera is my choice. I know I'm a digital shooter when it comes to street photography. Because I need to be able to try things, and I'm looking for expressions as people are walking past. I'm looking to capture things that are in front of me. But I didn't really want to do that. We're going to be walking in a group. We're going to be walking with a bunch of people. So instead I said, how about, I'm going to bring a Rolleiflex. I'm going to put a fresh roll of film in and off 12 frames. And I'll photograph people of Loveland. I'll make portraits. And so we met as a group. We're standing on this little town square. And they're like, okay, well, if you want to stay together, if you want to disperse, we'll go in a couple pairs or whatever you want to do. We'll meet back at the restaurant in an hour and a half, et cetera, et cetera. And I said, well, I'm going to go right over there. Because while we were standing there, the light of the sudden setting light was hitting a building and bouncing back onto these boys who were sitting on the wall in great light, and they were skateboarders. And I went over to them with the Rolleiflex, and I said, hey, we're part of a photo group working today. Can I photograph you? And they're like, yeah, sure. Because everybody always says yes. And they said, sure. And I photographed them. And then there were couple of girls lying on the sidewalk of this town square. So I said, can I photograph you? And they said, yeah. So I photographed them. And then the boys started jumping on skateboards and doing tricks. So I photographed that. And then they went and other people kind of dispersed some. I said, oh, I'll catch up. And I saw some kids dressed to go to the homecoming dance. And I said, can I photograph you? And they said, yes. And then I saw some other homecoming kids standing in an alley doing a little photo shoot with some photographer with a DSLR. And I said, hey, can I be the paparazzi and photograph it too? And they laughed, and I photographed them. And I photographed another guy. And I walked around and I photographed with the Rolleiflex. And I asked people. There was a woman sitting on the main street, and she had a pastry the size of her head. And I thought that has to be 2,000 calories and a whole box of sugar. And she had the biggest grin. I said, can I photograph you with your giant pastry? And she said, yeah. And so I photographed her. I just went up to anybody who I saw, and without even thinking, I just automatically asked. I wanted to shoot all 12 frames, and I wanted to photograph people. So, hey, can I photograph you? There was a guy where there was one frame left. The sun was setting, and I thought, here's a guy crossing the street. I'm not sure he's going to come this way. And I go, hey, I have this old camera. Would you come over here? He's like, sure. Stood in the sun. Got a nice little shadow across his eyes. And he let me take the last frame of my raw. And I ended up shooting 12 frames for the Kelby photo walk. And then I shot some 35. I brought a Leica, and I was finishing a raw on one of the Leicas I had. But the shoot was really the Rolleiflex. Those portraits are some of my favorite portraits. And it's all because I made the right choice to not go out and just shoot candids of people standing around, walking around, eating an ice cream cone, walking to dinner. I actually chose to make portraits with that Rolleiflex, and it created a whole different dynamic for what I could create because I was using a camera that was both an attractor. People definitely are enamored by the looks of that camera. And I was just joyous. I had all these people around me when we were walking as a group, and I'm like, hey, we're doing a photo walk. It's the Kelby photo walk. Hey, we're doing a photo walk in Loveland. And hey, we're doing this walk. Can I photograph you? And the exuberance just made it easy to approach anybody. And I didn't approach everybody. I approached people that intrigued me, that I saw something. Either they were in good light, they had the big giant pastry, they were kids. I was photographing people that attracted me, as I always do. I photograph things that attract my camera, attract my eye. So I'll put a link to the photos, you can see them, and I think that was one of the most wonderful shoots. I want to take that camera to rural towns all throughout Colorado and find the people who were working in, living in, hanging out, eating and drinking in those towns and photograph them too. And that'll be next. But that day was a really good day. Nice street portraits shot with the Rolleiflex black and white film. All right, that's today's photography talk. If you're enjoying this, hit the subscribe button. If you can support, hit the Patreon. Thanks to all my supporters. I appreciate you. I'll be back next time and we'll talk more photography. As always, here's the good light.